I used to hate the sound of English. To me, it wasn't a language. It was a noise. It was a wall of glass that separated me from the rest of the world. I lived in the city, but I didn't belong to it. I remember walking down Fifth Avenue. People were talking, laughing, arguing, but to me, it was all just static, like a radio that wasn't tuned in properly. I would go to bookstores and I would feel small. The books looked like bricks, heavy, cold, impossible. I told myself, you are not smart enough. You don't have the talent. Just give up. So I did. I stopped trying. I went to work. I smiled. I nodded. But inside, I was mute. I was a ghost, a city of millions. It happened on a Tuesday, a rainy gray Tuesday. I was on the subway heading home. I was tired. My boots were wet. My head hurt. The train was crowded, but the seat next to me was empty. Well, not empty. There was a book on it. Someone had left it behind. It wasn't a textbook. It wasn't a dictionary. It was a small, beat-up paperback. The cover was bent. It smelled like old coffee and rain. I don't know why, but I picked it up. My hands were shaking a little. I expected to feel that old fear, that panic. I opened it to page 1. I looked at the words, and for the first time, they didn't look like enemies. They just looked like ink on paper. Read the first sentence. The boy stood by the window and waited for the rain. I blinked. I understood. I didn't need a dictionary. I didn't need to translate it in my head. I just saw the boy. I saw the window. I felt the rain. For a brief second, the glass wall cracked. I put the book in my coat pocket and I took it home. That night, I made a deal with myself. No big goals. I will be fluent in 3 months. Just a tiny secret promise. 1 page. I would read 1 page a day. That's it. I sat at my kitchen table. The yellow light buzzed overhead. My tea was hot. The room was silent. I opened the book. I put my finger on the paper. I used my finger to anchor my eyes. I traced the words. The wind blew through the trees, through. That word was hard. I stumbled. I looked it up. I wrote it down in a notebook. It took me 20 minutes to read that single page. 20 minutes. My brain felt heavy. My eyes stung. But when I reached the bottom of the page, I felt something strange. I felt proud. I closed the book. See you tomorrow, I whispered. 1 page, night, 1 habit. It became my ritual, my sanctuary. Some nights I was exhausted. I wanted to turn on the TV and zone out, but my hand would reach for the book. Just 1 page. I traced the lines with my finger, left to right, like I was sewing a broken piece of fabric back together. Weeks passed. The winter turned into spring. The stack of red pages grew thicker on the left. The stack of unread pages grew thinner on the right. I didn't notice it at first, but something was changing. The static noise in the city, it was starting to clear up. I started to hear words on the street. Coffee, ticket, wonderful. They weren't just sounds anymore. They were colorful. I was tuning in. Then came moment I will never forget. It was a Friday evening. I was on page 142. The character in the book, a grumpy old baker, was arguing with his cat. He said something sarcastic. It was a joke. A simple, dry English joke. Usually I would stop. I would analyze the grammar. I would ask myself, why is this funny? Is it a cultural thing? But this time, I didn't analyze. The words went straight from the page to my heart. Snorted. Then I chuckled. Then I laughed out loud in my empty apartment. A real belly laugh. I froze. I looked around the room. Wait, I just laughed at an English joke. I finally got. I wasn't an outsider looking through the glass anymore. I was inside the house. I was inside the story. Tears pricked my eyes, not because the joke was sad, but because I realized I wasn't stupid. I never was. I just needed to slow down. I just needed one page. I finished that book 3 days later. I held it in my hands. It felt lighter now. I realized something profound that night. Books aren't boring. Books are doors. When you are scared, they are a hiding place. When you are lonely, they are a friend. And when you are stuck, they are a way out. English wasn't wall anymore. It was a key. And I held that key in my hand. Yesterday, I walked into a bookstore. The same bookstore that used to terrify me. The bell chimed above the door. Ding, I took a deep breath. I smelled the paper. I smelled the ink. I didn't feel small. I felt hungry. I walked to the shelf. I picked up a new book, a thicker one. I opened it. I didn't know all the words, and that was okay. I knew I would figure them out one page at a time. Maybe you are listening to this and you feel stuck. Maybe English feels like a noise to you too. Maybe you think you are too old or too busy or not smart enough. Let me tell you, you are wrong. You don't need to climb the whole mountain today. You just need to take one step. Find a book, a simple one, put your finger on the page. Trace the line. Don't worry about the grammar. Don't worry about the accent. Just find the story, because the door is unlocked. It has always been unlocked. You just have to turn the page